So I think we can start. So thank you everyone joining the session for AI in the automotive industry. And also welcome to Christoph from Robert Bosch. And thank you again for joining this event and giving your insights on the topic of, I would say, one of the most discussed and hot topics at the moment, which is not only in the automotive industry everywhere, but specifically in the context of the automotive industry. So thank you again. And I'm already myself looking very much forward to hear your presentation. And yeah, so please take over, and we will be in the background monitoring the chat and things like that. And like I said in the introduction, to anyone, we will provide space after the presentation. We will have enough time for questions and answers session after the presentation. So we'll kindly ask to listen to the presentation, and afterwards we can open the the question and answers and discussions. So thank you very much everyone for joining, and Christoph, please go ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Andre. I really appreciate the invitation to talk about this. It's a really a pressing topic. AI, I think, is in everybody's mouth, and I'm very happy to be here to give my perspective on how I perceive AI in the automotive industry. And I'm even more delighted to see some familiar faces. So hi everyone to the ones who have been collaborating in the past. So feels like a family reunion to work with TopQM-Systems. So I'm very happy to be here. Thanks for the invitation. Who am I? I'm Christoph Schwarz from Robert Bosch. I'm working at Bosch as a manager in the industry, in the field of digitalization. I work with topics like digital twins, like the metaverse, and of course with AI topics as well. And in former roles in Bosch, I was also working with quality management topics in purchasing. This is how the connection to TopQM-Systems was built, and even in the last month, this collaboration was deepened. So now we are collaborating also in the field of AI. So it's a very fruitful collaboration from my perspective, and I hope this is a vice versa thing. So welcome to this AI in the automotive industry pitch. I would like to share with you my perspective on what happens in the automotive industries when it comes to AI, what is already like use cases that are realized in the car, and even more. I see can you hear me, guys? I see a comment in the chat, but I think that's.
I think
Andre,
we can
okay.
hear you. So maybe he can look at his microphone
Maybe
or
re-log
something.
in.
Yeah, or you can log in. Maybe that helps. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Because there's happening a lot already with AI in the car, but also, and I'm even thinking this is even more important for us, how we can leverage AI in our industries, in our business, to make ourselves more competitive, to make our companies, having a better positions in the market. So this is very briefly what I would like to share with you in the coming minutes. Before we come to the real concrete details of use cases, I would like to very briefly start on the beginning, talk about what AI is, because AI, I mean, is like a huge discipline in information technologies, and it's really a topic everybody's talking about, even if they know about it or not. So what is AI really? And I would like to very briefly share with you about what AI is. It's basically, AI is not a magic, that's a black box. No one knows what happens. It's basically a foundation are three ingredients that we see. In my opinion, the most critical part when it comes to AI is about data. It's data, it's algorithms, and it's a lot of compute power. If you check stock like NVIDIA or so from companies who provide this computing power, you can see based on their stock development how important the compute power is. So just for you to give an idea, it's the GPT-4, ChatGPT-4 was trained on 45 terabytes of data. So you can imagine it's huge amounts of data, and this data is processed by a lot of computing power. So in the meantime, completely separate power stations are built just to create enough power for all the data centers, especially from the big tech in the USA. So it's a lot of computing power, it's algorithms, and it's about data, basically. And why is AI in everybody's mouth these days is because in the last years, we saw a big improvements in these areas, especially of computing power. So more powerful GPUs, more powerful CPUs came to life. And this enabled this breakthrough in AI that we lately experienced. When we talk about AI, give you some laser pointer here. When we talk about AI, it's basically AI is a huge domain that consists of several categories, let's say. A part of AI is about machine learning. This is like the basic thing. Machine learning means you have, for instance, you take pictures and you label these pictures, like having dozens of pictures of cats, and you say that's a cat. And you have dozens of pictures of a dog, and you say that's a dog. And then you can train a model to understand how a dog looks like and how a cat looks like. And this model then can differentiate. And based on several pictures, it can say it's either a dog or a cat. But if you give it like a boat or a car, it will not be able to detect that one. So it's heavily depending on the trained data, and this trained data is labeled data. We call this labeled data. That means it's data that humans have labeled. So a human needed to say, this is a cat, this is a dog. So you can imagine it's very powerful if you have a very clear use case, if you are really clear about the data you want to evaluate, then machine learning is very strong and very effective. So we see use cases in predictive maintenance, for instance. So I don't know, based on the wear of some components of a machine, machine learning algorithms are able to detect that a maintenance might be needed or some spare parts needs to be replaced. So this is a machine learning discipline. That's the first thing. Deep learning, that's a bit more complex. Deep learning works in a similar way with so-called neural networks, but the difference to the machine learning is the data must not be labeled. So you do not have to tell the system it's a cat or it's a dog. You provide all different kind of pictures, and you really need a lot of pictures in this case, a lot of data, and the systems are able to find some, let's say, characteristics out of these pictures to differentiate these pictures. They will still not know what a dog is or a cat, but they could say, oh, this is like 3 categories. I have category 1, 2, 3. So in this case, we do not really need labeled data, which makes it more flexible and which makes it more also useful in the industry. So a use case that we very commonly see at Bosch and other suppliers as well is the automated quality control. So imagine you have some pictures of your products, and the quality control is able, based on these pictures, to differentiate between good parts and scrap parts, for instance. That's usually a kind of a deep learning use case. And the last one I would like to mention here is about generative AI. This is basically what many people mean when they talk about AI these days. It's about ChatGPT and all these generative models, these foundational models. This basically is only one discipline of the whole AI, and it's basically a deep learning algorithms with some more advanced architectures in a way to be able to create new content. And that's basically what we experience when we use ChatGPT. You give some prompt, you give some input, and it's able to create a content. It's able to create pictures, videos, all kind of output, sorry. Like technical documentations can be created, and even in the far future, I'd say even complete product designs might be a possibility in the future. So generative AI is about generating content. So just to differentiate between those 3 different domains: machine learning, deep learning, and generative AI. So what was like the condition for this whole AI thing to rock started was a new architecture called the transformers. It was developed or it was invented, let's say, in 2017 already. It is a quite new architecture that enables the AI to teach itself without any human intervention. So this means the AI is able, with a lot of GPU power, of course, is able to train itself and to process huge amounts of data in order to optimize the foundational model. So that is a new architecture called transformers, and this is something you can also see in the name GPT from ChatGPT, stands for generative pre-trained transformers. So also a tribute to this new architecture of transformers. And that basically was the technical breakthrough for ChatGPT to rise in, I think it was 2022, when the GPT 3.5 hit the fan and got published and really changed the view how we see AI these days. So this new architecture was very essential to achieve that breakthrough. And now what we can see in the industry is like the latest trend is about agents. Agents is basically a generative AI use case, but instead of asking an AI to create some text, content, or models, it's also able to execute, to act. So we are coming a step closer to automation processes. So from ChatGPT giving you some assistance, giving you some brainstorming ideas, some text, etc. Now the agents are more autonomous, can actively realize activities, and can automate parts of an end-to-end process already. So agents is like the latest stuff in the AI world. And if you read about agentic AI, that's basically generative AI with the ability to execute repetitive tasks. So in my opinion, this is also like a breakthrough that helps us really to gain efficiency in our companies. But we will talk about some of these use cases later. So that's a very brief summary about what AI is. And the next chapter, I would underline the main ingredient that makes AI successful, and this is about data. Because you could have the best models, you could have the best algorithms. If you do not have the data in a way that it can be processed by AI, all your algorithms and models are pretty much useless. So it's all about data. We can say data is the fuel of every AI system. Without good data, AI will not work out effectively. So garbage in, garbage out is something I think that super applies for AI as well as for other use cases. But for AI, it's like crucial and vital to have good data. And there are even figures evaluating that 80% of the AI projects that fail, they fail because of the data quality. So that's really something I would like to give you as an inspiration as well for your businesses. Think about AI and think about data in a whole. No AI without data. It's about data integration, about the cleaning up the data. It's about enriching data, semantic data, storage, accessibility, etc. So the whole data governance processes are essential to have a good quality AI. So please keep that in mind. Data, data, data. Data, just to give you some more inspirations about it, of course, the data must be accurate, right? Because if you use AI based on a shitty data, the results will be the same way. So you need to have accurate, precise information in a way that also represents like the total amount of data you have. If you have a small representation of your data and you provide this to AI, of course, the AI will react based on this data. So you need to be ensured that you have a lot of data that is representing the reality as good as it can, in case you are using some spot checks as well. And of course, completeness. The completer, the better the quality of your data, the better the results in AI. So data quality is a crucial aspect in all AI success stories. And basically, in my opinion, also the AI the data is what differentiates you from other companies, or what differentiates your business from other businesses. Because every company can use ChatGPT, can use Gemini, and all the other models. That's not something that's unique to your business. But what is unique is the data you have. So take care about your data, ensure the data is accessible, it's high quality, it's complete, etc. And then you have a great foundation for realizing good AI use cases. And to give you an idea about the importance of data is also, you see a picture of Waymo. Maybe you tried it yourself already. It's a fully autonomous taxi driving in the US, and there are similar services available in China as well. And Waymo is trained on a lot of data. You can imagine you cannot simulate every single situation in a street, on the streets, the weather conditions, the street conditions, the pedestrians, bikes, etc. A lot of other cars, trucks. That's really hard to simulate. So in reality, so what they need to do is to simulate that on generative AI created data. That's faster, it's cheaper, it's safer, and it's just a lot more data. So to give you an idea, Waymo simulates 20 million miles a day only virtually, with virtually created data, not real data from the street. That's way not enough to ensure robustness of their service. So it's all about data, especially when it comes to edge cases. Think about the situation on the road. There's some black ice patch plus some sun glare, and maybe a pedestrian stands behind a parked truck. To simulate that in real life is very, very challenging to create such an environment and see how your autonomous systems react. So what is done in this case is these data is created, synthetically created by using AI. And it's all about data when it comes to AI. That's data. Keep data in mind. It's essential. It's essential for all the use cases that I would like to show with you in the next slides. So first, giving you some glimpse about how AI today is already used inside the car. And the next chapter, in my opinion, even more exciting is how we can leverage AI to make our business more effective. But let's start with the car. And I mean, I guess you all driving cars. So most of these use cases you might have experienced yourself already. Maybe even you tried Waymo or the Chinese versions of it, completely autonomously driving cars on the street without any driver. And this, of course, is pure AI in action. They have, for instance, already 1,000 cars in San Francisco and surroundings. It's available in Los Angeles and other cities as well. So that's a very impressive use case, Waymo fully autonomous AI-driven cars. And also the German brands are coming up with such solutions. So Mercedes, for instance, got a permission to drive fully autonomous on German or European motorways up to a speed of 95 kilometers per hour. So already also a great achievement from Mercedes. That all works with AI. It's basically a lot of great deep learning algorithms that are able, you can see the picture on the right side, that are able to detect the environment and to understand it and also to act accordingly. So based on a lot of training data, the car can differentiate between a car, between a truck, between a person. It can also read traffic lights. It can also read whatever kind of road signals there will be available. And of course, it can also detect, oh, there's a pedestrian on the street. So it's a lot of data that was used to teach the AI to understand what is a car, what is a truck, etc. So that's already a very impressive use case that you can see in your cars, I guess, as well. Another very high important trend is about software-defined vehicles. This is like the latest trend in automotive industries, which basically describes you have a car that is more or less handled like a smartphone, let's say. You deliver a car, and via updates over the air, you can always enhance this car with new features, with security bugs, safety bugs, fixes, etc. So I once heard the quote that a software-defined vehicle will never ever be as bad as of the day of the delivery, because there will be constant updates and constant upgrades coming to this car over the air. And of course, it's also a great business for the OEMs. So Tesla, for instance, earns already quite an amount of money with upgrades. So for instance, you buy a Tesla and then you can upgrade for the autonomous driving system if you pay accordingly to their earnings as well. Predictive maintenance is another use case. So in the future, we will see more and more cars telling the driver to say, we need to go. to the service. We need to change the spare parts, brakes needs to be changed, or whatever the oil level is on a critical level and needs to be refilled. So the car will be more and more smart based on all kind of AI algorithms in the car. And also personalization is a new trend. Mercedes developed the MBUX, the Mercedes user experience. That's basically the operating system of the new Mercedes cars. That is able to recognize the driver. It uses cameras inside the car. It recognizes the driver. It can recognize, let's say, the mood of the driver. It can recognize the driver, the person itself, and then depending on the person, it can adjust the seat. It can adjust the colors of the LEDs, and all kind of customizations are possible, all based on machine learning and deep learning algorithms. And also what you can see is the computers in the car in the meantime are very impressive vehicle computers with a lot of computing power. Tesla was like the first, but we see more and more competitors of Tesla as well using those very strong vehicle computers, which are basically the core and the backbone of every AI application in a car as well. So we see on this slide, but also in reality, we can already see a lot of AI on the streets in our cars. What is, I mentioned that, in my opinion, even more important is how we can leverage AI in our industries, because I think that's a huge lever for the efficiency of all of our companies to apply AI in a way to be more efficient, faster, more cost competitive, and to increase market shares of our companies. And to give you a glimpse about that, I named some of these use cases here. So predictive maintenance, we already mentioned in the context of the car, but of course we can also use this use case in our companies, machines that are predictively giving alerts in order to change spare parts, in order to make additional checks of the maintenance. So smart machines that are based on machine learning and deep learning algorithms are driven to reduce the downtime by, some figures say, even 50%. The maintenance costs can be reduced by 25, for instance. These are some figures. For instance, Audi in Neckarsulm was able to reduce the downtime by using AI in their maintenance processes from 18 hours down to 4 hours. So very impressive savings at Audi, and there are plenty of other examples. So machine learning, deep learning in predictive maintenance is a very common use case. The second one we have here is about computer vision. Computer vision means a computer can see the reality. Think about the picture I just showed 1 or 2 slides earlier. A computer can realize on the street what is a car, what is a truck, what is a human, for instance. That's what we call computer vision. And computer vision, of course, can also be used in your companies, so especially in quality control. This is a very common use case. You have cameras taking pictures of every single product, and based on their deep learning algorithms, the systems are able to detect faulty parts and reject all these faulty parts. So that's inspection speed that increases by 10 times, for instance, compared to if you have humans doing this. And on the next slide, I will show you a very brief video how this looks like in a PCB production. We also have the smart supply chains as an additional use case. So a logistics use case by using AI to predict future demands, future quantities to suppliers, to all the different plants in your network. And by this case, it's a possibility to lower the inventory level, which is a CapEx relevant KPI for you guys. So 20 to 30% lower inventory is a potential that you can realize if you use AI and machine learning, deep learning algorithms also in your supply chains and in your logistic forecast processes. And last but not least, a use case very close to my heart, I'm working with engineering IT these days, is about generating complete product designs based on AI, which is, to be honest, for right now, it's still a vision, but we're coming step by step, we are coming towards this vision. So what you can expect from a process called generative design already is you have a product a product that you have designed, manually designed by humans, but based on AI, you can easily create all kind of changes based on this existing model. So you can change the diameters, you can change the tolerances, for instance, you can make variants of the existing tool, and this can already help us and speed up the engineering processes quite significantly. And the far future, the vision is to give the requirements for a product to the AI, and the AI is able to create complete products. But to be honest, that's still farther on the horizon. But it's definitely a vision that all the CAD suppliers are working for. So a lot of use cases. What I would like to show you next is this computer vision use case. What we can see here is, give me a sec. Yep. You see a lot of cameras. You have a turning table with the products that to be checked. You see the cameras, which are very fast, can take pictures of these products. And on the top, you see the pictures that are taken. They are compared to, and they are evaluated by the machine learning and deep learning models compared to the training data. And it's very fast for these systems to differentiate between a good part and a defective part. And you can imagine this helps us in improving our quality. It helps us improving our outputs, and also reduces, of course, the costs for human and manual checks in our production lines. So a very impressive use case from production that is already, let's say, state of the art in all kind of production shop floors. Some more inspiration you can see on this picture. I will not go through all of them because some of them have been already mentioned. Maybe some of them I would like to highlight because it's something that I really see a lot of benefits for all of our companies. One is about requirements engineering. Think about the very first process of the engineering process. You have received a lot of requirements from your customers, from governmental requirements, from, you name it, sustainability requirements. You have a bunch of different documents, and reading and understanding these documents, deriving the requirements out of these documents, that's quite a thing. And AI, is very handy when it comes to language, especially the standard large language model can do already a lot in this case of requirements engineering. And you can achieve to have a complete list of your requirements based on all kind of different documents. That's quite easy to achieve. You can then also map them to requirements you have evaluated in the past to see how you realized them in the past. And you even can later on, when it comes to testing and simulation, you can link the results of the test to those requirements to ensure that all requirements are fulfilled, and also the quality of requirements, how you formulate them, how clear they are, how measurable they are, can of course be optimized using AI. So that's a quite common use case in the engineering process already as of today, to use AI, and especially in this case, it's generative AI for requirements engineering. And furthermore, virtual simulations is something where AI will also be very strong. It's starting already, but I think still some way to go to really improve the simulation processes using AI, but the vision is very clear. And the savings are also very impressive. So think about all these different kind of prototypes that needs to be created to prove that the function of our products is available. All these kind of extreme condition tests we do in the deserts, in the Arctics, just to prove that our products fulfill the requirements under every circumstance, under every environmental conditions. And parts of it, step by step, can be replaced or even completely virtualized by using AI also for the simulation processes. So that's something that I think many companies, from OEMs to tier Ns, are having a look at how we can leverage AI for simulations. And also maybe a last one to mention here about market analysis. I think that's helpful also for all of the companies to get an idea what is out there in the market, what are the competitors for my products, how do they perform, what are benchmarks, for instance, and you could just leverage simple research functions from existing large language models to get a quite good overview about, what are your competitors doing? And of course, you can do similar analysis also for your vendors. You have a specific part you would like to buy or purchase. You can, of course, use AI also to make a market analysis of the companies who are able to deliver such companies. Maybe you also sometimes get some pricing indications at least. So that's also a low-hanging fruit I would like to mention here, which is already doable as of today. So what else? What we also can do is we can use AI to create all kind of content it's about presentation, it's about, let's say, trainings, all kind of marketing material as well. And I would like to give you a glimpse on how this can look like. Just to check, can you hear that? Because I'm not sure if I shared the audio. Could you hear me speaking in this video?
Let me see. I can give you.
Okay.
No, I can't.
Give me a sec. I'll share again. I think I need to sound, including sound.
Yeah,
Okay,
include sound.
I hope you enjoy the provided insight of AI
Now it
and you
works.
can take away inspiration. Today's possibilities with AI are already quite impressive. Traducir textos a cualquier idioma del mundo se consigue sin esfuerzo en solo unos instantes.
Also, creating pictures, videos, or presentations is no problem.
For example, training materials can be translated into the user's languages and thus scaled globally in the appropriate language or dialect.
Es gibt viele Möglichkeiten. Verschiedene Stimmungen, verschiedene Sprachen und sogar auch verschiedene Dialekte sind möglich.
Ahogy láthatja, probléma nélkül beszélek magyarul.
我也会说流利的中文，我也会说流利的中文。
So what you can see here is, honestly, I cannot speak any Spanish or so. So that's, of course, generated by AI. And this is something that you can leverage quite easily. There are tools out there that are able for you guys to create an avatar or use existing avatars to translate it to any language, to make training materials and presentations and you name it. And the effort for that is really, really low. It's like making a PowerPoint presentation, and it's very flexible also. You can translate it to any language, and I think that's a huge benefit, especially for us working in international companies, and especially when it comes to associates not speaking English fluently. I think that's a very strong tool. Also, like talking about people on the shop floor, maybe training them in their local language, maybe even in the local dialect if needed. That's a low-hanging fruit using AI. So as you can see in this video, without any effort, it's quite good and quite impressive also, how you can leverage this in your business. What I would like to talk with you next is, and I try to start a survey on that, is I would like to get an idea about how do you adapt AI already in your companies. Give me a sec. I'll start a poll, which basically is what you can see also on this PowerPoint presentation. Okay, I think here it comes. There should be a poll popping up, and what I would like to know is think about your business. It works? Okay, yep. Think about your business, think about your daily work, and think about how strong do you already leverage AI in your business. And this is like a maturity step-by-step answering. So if you say we're still exploring, we're in an early phase, we have heard about AI and we see what it can do or not can do. That's like the first. If you plan to implement it in the coming year, let's say, or you're already experimenting, that's another reply, or you're running pilots already, or the last answer is about, AI is already essential part of your work. I would be really interested in how is the situation. And I can see, I hope you can see this as well. We see already some of the replies in the chat.
The results are coming in. Yeah.
Coming, yeah. So as of now, 1/3 is still exploring, let's say. That's the strongest answer. We are experimenting is the second one. 14% already use AI in production, so in productive environments. Okay, I think that's all the answers. Good to know. So let's say you're still in an more or less majorities in an early phase. You are thinking about how AI can be used. Some of you are already experimenting, and some already, of course, using it productive. But let's say still in an investigation phase. So that's really awesome, because I think maybe this presentation then comes to the right time to inspire you to go to the next stage and to really go towards a productive way when it comes to AI. And on the very last slide, I will also give you a very brief glimpse on what I think could be the next steps for you in your business also to bring AI to life. Because the benefits that we expect and that we already see in the industry are really significant. And in my opinion, there's no way around AI. It's not like we can relax and wait until this trend goes away. AI is here to stay and will stay there. It's essential part of our work, like the internet or so. So thanks for sharing your experience. What I would like to show you in a short video on the next slide, give me a sec, I'll stop it, is about how AI already today disrupted the software engineering world. In the past slides, I was talking about like more the physical world and how our businesses are working. I was talking about generative design, which is about the mechanics and the hardware more or less, but in software engineering, so engineering software in the cars, but also the software tools like you use, like Microsoft Teams, like CAQ systems, etc. In these domains, AI is already, you cannot think those domains without AI anymore, because it's so strong in software engineering. This is, let's say, this is the foundation where AI comes. And now all the use cases we are talking about is how can we achieve the same disruption that AI had for software engineering also in other domains, in mechanical engineering, in the production, in the sales, in the fields, etc. So what you see in this video in a second is a very impressive use case, what AI can already do today and how, and I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing, how AI today can already replace software engineers, at least partly. Let's go through this one. This is a tool I would like to share with you. It's called Claude Code. Claude is a large language model from Anthropic. I'm not sure if you have heard about Anthropic, a US company. One of them, you know, a lot of LLMs, of course, you know, ChatGPT. Google is very strong with Gemini, but also Claude from Anthropic is a very, very strong model, especially when it comes to coding and software engineering. And this tool, Claude Code, is able to automate parts of the software engineering process. So what you want to see here, I'll stop it from time to time, is we have a task to do. So the manager, Matt, says, guys, we have a software tool, and this software tool has 2 bugs. And you see those bugs here in the bullet points. So we need to make an inventory dashboard, and it's about subscription discounts. So what happens next is the developer, and that's a human, opens Claude Code and gives a task. You see on the left side, the task that the manager was given is entered into Claude Code, and you see this pretty much looks like any chatbot you might know from ChatGPT or Co. But then what happens is the agents come in place. Give me a sec. So this is the task, and now on the right side you see how the agent is thinking. And oh, sorry, didn't want to do that. And this agent is using a feature called reasoning. Reasoning means this agent is able to independently decide what are the steps this agent needs to do to complete the task. So we see first thing is he's reading some dashboard file, then he's analyzing about what is the tech stack, what is the language used to develop this dashboard. The next thing is reading another file, he's understanding how the architecture of the software is defined. And as you can see, step by step, he's coming closer to solve this task. And finally, what you see here, he added some changes in the software. In this case, it's some logic, etc. We're not really sure, not really important what it is about, but in this thing, the task is solved. What happens next? We have 2 bugs to solve. So the second bug is solved as well. As you can see, again, we see those reasoning steps, and we see the AI autonomously solving this issue we have, solving the bug in our system. And then that's again a human input. The developer says, okay, now you change the code. Now let's test it. Don't forget to write tests. And of course, Claude Code is also able to define what test needs to be done and to automatically trigger those tests. The tests come in with a result, and this result is analyzed, and everything is fine. It will proceed. And what happens next is these results are published in GitHub. GitHub is like the one platform for managing different software versions. So it's published to GitHub automatically. It is describing what was changed, and it is asking the developer community for feedback. As soon as they say, yeah, the code is good, it's approved, and then the change is done. And that's basically what you can see. It's a small example of 2 bugs who more or less automatically have been solved by AI. So AI is analyzing the problem, it is thinking about how to approach this problem, and it's executing. That's basically a lot of agents who are working in this Claude Code thing to improve the software quality and to automate parts of the software development process. So already very impressive and state of the art in all kind of software engineering tools. So that's maybe something, if that is relevant for you, that can be adapted very easily. This is Claude Code, but there are other tools like from ChatGPT, from Microsoft, from you name it. A lot of different tools who can do similar use cases like what you see on Claude Code. So already very impressive in software engineering. So this is more or less, in my opinion, where industry stands right now when it comes to AI. But of course, it will not stop here. So what's the next big thing? And the latest trends in AI that we can see is something like, maybe you have heard about physical AI, sometimes also called embodied AI. So AI gets a body, and you see this picture. It's about robots as well. Robots are, in the meantime, completely steered by AI, let's say. In the past, maybe there were some guys experimenting on how to program a robot based on, let's say, yeah, the algorithms we were using in the past without AI, but it didn't provide the flexibility and the results than AI does these days. So especially the humanoids, so robots that look like human, have the size, work like humans. They are coming more and more into the industries. So Tesla, for instance, is a future supplier for such humanoids, but we see plenty of other vendors coming from the US and especially China, some of them of Europe as well, you will see on the next slide. So for instance, the humanoid that Tesla is releasing is called Optimus, and this is already capable of having 20 kilograms of payload, so it can already do a lot on the shop floor. And indeed, of course, OEMs and tier ends are adapting these new technologies, trying to leverage the benefits of these humanoids. BMW, in its plant in the US in Spartanburg, already uses humanoids, as well as Mercedes, and also lately it was published that, for instance, Schaeffler is buying such humanoids to bring their shop floors on the next level. It's still an early phase, in my opinion, but companies are exploring it, are understanding the possibilities and the restrictions as well, and are trying to leverage now AI in the physical world as well. What is special about this? Those robots are not programmed anymore. They are trained. Sometimes it's just by watching humans doing some movements, in the assembly line, for instance, and the robot is able to watch it, to understand it, and to learn from the humans by imitating. So basically, a lot of AI making that possible. And there are even some call this the AI gyms, the robot gyms. So these are really like huge centers where robots get taught for specific tasks in the industry, but also in the automotive industry, but also in other industries like healthcare, like medicine, etc. So the use cases or the applications for humanoids are plenty and are growing more and more. And especially, of course, again, China is very strong in this case. So they want to have 3 million robots in place in usage until 2030. So they're putting a lot of effort and a lot of pace into this robotics. And as you can see, AI is the basic lever and the basic catalyst to make that possible. So in the past, you needed a lot of programming to bring a robot to some usage. Now, by learning from imitation, it can be way, way more faster. The robots then can be way more flexible, more use cases are realistic, prices go down, and yeah, it's expected that those robots, those humanoids, will be the next big thing when it comes to some production use cases. Talking about AI again, we were talking about large language models, for instance. Now we are talking when it comes to humanoids or robots, we are talking about a new type of models, the so-called vision language action models, which are basically able vision to understand. They use cameras, obviously, to understand the physical world, to see about colors, about shapes, to understand what happens. But they also understand language, so you can talk to them. You can say, hey, robot, give me the red box, for instance. And it's able to understand what is a box, what is red. And it also can understand what humans are saying. This is the language part. And action, it can transfer all this knowledge into actions. It can grab the box, for instance. So we call this the vision language action models, which is a very foundational development when it comes to humanoids and robots. So yeah, that's very likely a huge thing in the future. Some videos also where you can see the video in the middle. This is a Chinese robot, and as you can see, it's still a bit weird. They are not fast. They are still look. It doesn't look so mature as of now. But seeing the developments that AI made in the past, I think we can be very certain that in the coming months, years, huge improvements will be made also in this area of robotics. On the left side, you see a robot from Figure One, a US company that is basically used in the BMW plant in the US. And in a second, the video starts on the right side. Now, Neura Robotics is a German-located brand that also delivers state-of-the-art robots for all kind of use cases. You see some household applications here, but obviously by imitating what humans are doing, it's possible to use them nearly everywhere in the physical world. So this is the next big thing. This is what will happen in our industries very soon, or is happening already. So to come to an end with this presentation, I would very briefly like to share with you some of the experience that we made in adapting AI and maybe some success factors that you can also leverage if you are thinking about using AI in your businesses. And based on the survey we made, I think it's a good thing to share this. Some of you are experimenting or planning to do it next year or still exploring the possibilities, so you can learn from the failures others made. So in my opinion, what I would like to share with you, it's why AI projects fail. And this is very often the case is because the scope is too big. You reach for the stars right from the beginning. So my feedback is please start small. Think about what are quick wins. Maybe you can just use standard LLMs already for the good, for some of the benefits in your companies. Do not aim for the huge vision of AI right away. Learn with small projects with a clear scope. Also, and this is the third point, you can see also please focus on the data, which is the foundation for all the AI. Because what we have experienced is you see a lot of disappointment. You talk to a chatbot and the answers are just inaccurate or just shitty or not to the point. And usually it's because of the data. So you need to have a data ready. You need to have a good quality data and think data first in order to be able to make great AI use cases. What is very important, because this is the case for all kind of changes, is it's about the people. Don't forget about the people, about the mindset. It's about qualifying the people on one hand, but it's also about having the right speed to not overwhelm your teams and your companies. So it's adapting the speed to what your company can cover. And based on this survey, I see many of you are in an early phases of AI. So don't give it too much speed. Give the people time to adapt, to try it out, to experiences, because AI obviously comes with risks, with a lot of risks as well. And we need to be aware about these risks. We need to mitigate these risks, and we need to share and inform people a lot. It's a lot about transparency, to not lose the people when we come to AI, because AI is also causing a lot of fears and threats to jobs, to the people, and seeing those humanites in action, that can be really threatening. So don't forget about the people, also work on the mindset. And my last statement for today is don't see AI as a project that starts and ends. AI is not a project. AI is a new way of thinking. An AI first mindset is maybe something you will hear lately quite often. AI really is a mindset, and it's a business transformation for all of us. And yeah, we need to be proactive, in my opinion. We need to tackle it. Don't be afraid, be curious, try it out, be bold. And I think then our industry will be successful and competitive in the future. So thank you very much, guys, for your attention. And I'll hand over to you, Andre, for the Q&A.
Thank you very much, Christoph, for your presentation and the things we heard from you about AI and how it will impact us. And I think what I took over from, or what I took now from you, is it will impact us. No matter, it depends on how and when and where, but it will, each one of us, probably, most probably, at least the companies, it will impact us definitely. So if anybody has questions or wants to raise a point or something like that, please feel free to do so. We will give you the opportunity to unmute your microphone, maybe before you raised your hand, if possible, so we can, if there are too many questions at once, we can control it a bit and give you the word then. But please, feel free to maybe raise your hand if you have questions. You can put it in the chat as well. To maybe ask a questions, make your point, raise a concern, or anything maybe you would like to ask Christoph in terms of the AI topic. Because, so maybe if I can kick it off with the questions. Because I think that's 2 points here that came to my mind. First is maybe we can start with the, I don't want to sound too European, but let's start with the restrictions, regulation topic of AI generally. So we all heard about this new AI Act from the European Union, which tries to regulate the topic of AI somehow. So also in my experience, when companies are trying to work with AI or how to integrate it, they are at the first looking at the regulatory requirements and framework. So maybe if you can say something about this AI Act and what it means for the companies.
Yeah. So, right, the EU AI Act was one of the first and biggest AI acts in the world to giving clear guardrails for AI and what is allowed, and if you have it, what are the requirements you need to fulfill. And one basic core of this EU AI Act is about every AI needs to be categorized. This is like a risk-based approach we know from other industries as well. And if you have an AI that is in a high risk situation, it is necessary for having some additional documentation, some additional monitoring. And high risk usually is not an unrealistic thing, because it's as soon as you are processing some personal data, as long as you are taking pictures from people and the personal rights are affected. And think about a car. Of course, the car cameras make pictures and videos of the pedestrians. So there's a lot of requirements for the companies to fulfill to be compliant with the EU IACT. And that's something that we do not see in the US or in China in that extent. This is a very European thing. I think it's good to have guardrails. However, industry also feedback sometimes it's a bit stopping the innovation, and it's maybe hindering also the speed. And this is maybe why other regions are faster than Europe usually.
So would you say that companies should go forward with AI cautiously, that they should make sure that they comply with specific requirements, or that they are still optimistic about the positive impact it can have, and don't fear the negative impact too much, and just be still optimistic about it?
Yeah, I think we should see the opportunities in this technology. Definitely. However, of course, we need to be compliant with the rule. That's clear. So this is one of the reasons why I say please start, if you haven't started yet, start small. In a scope that you have a very good clarity about what you want to achieve, what is the impact of this use case, because otherwise you might come into some compliance risk if you're not complying with the one or the other rules. So start small, but be bold and try to speed up with these use cases, because as soon as you have this experience and you make a small use case, you will learn from this use case. And one of the outcomes usually is you think about plenty of other use cases you never thought before. So start the journey now, start it with a small use case, and you will see that plenty of other use cases will come up. So be bold, be motivated. There's no way around AI.
I think that's a good point to say. Yeah, there's no way around it. You're right. Thank you. So let's see. Maybe we can have, or we do have some other questions from anybody. Please either raise your hand, write it in the chat at any time. No problem. We can give it a bit of time.
Andre, we will also share the slides. I mean, you said this maybe
Yes.
already, but of course we will share the slides if you want to read or be inspired again.
Exactly. Yes, of course. So the slides will be made available for download in PDF format after the 2 days. Let me see if we have some questions, because what I get, so maybe in the meantime, if maybe people want to write something in the chat or think about their questions, is so what I'm always thinking when we are talking about AI and the companies is, I mean, they start from a certain point they have right now. They have certain capabilities and abilities at the moment, certain companies, or not certain, but any company has a certain skill set at the moment they have. And what do you think? Oh, sorry, I've just read the questions. I mean, I can raise my point later, which is maybe also a final question at all. But for example, is there any products of AI in the context of QA, quality assurance, or quality control that you could maybe recommend?
Yeah, I mean, I can send you some recommendations. Also, I can add it to the presentation to share with others. Let me do some research first to give you a broad overview about it, but of course I can do that. But what is important here is also about the data quality. The tool itself is able to apply some machine learning, deep learning algorithms, and sometimes this is even open source libraries. So the really crucial part here is about the data. So think about the computer vision use case I showed in the presentation. So PCBs, cameras takes pictures and evaluates a good or a not good part. It's all about the training data. So put all your effort in getting high quality pictures of your products in order to teach the software. And then the software will not be the vital part or the crucial part. The crucial part will be the data. But still, Ahmed, I think I will share some recommendations, certainly, sure.
Thank you. And following up is, so you said the data is key.
Yeah.
So is it that you usually will get frameworks of AI and you on your own as a company? So it's not like you can purchase or get a pre-trained, a predefined software usually with trained, but you have to use your own data and train it yourself most of the time with your products,
for
right?
quality control, I think you can get a pre-trained model, but you always need to fine-tune this model, because think about it, one day it should check, I don't know, some sleeve, on the other day it should check some whatever PCB. Every product is unique, and every failure modes you want to find are unique, and you need to tell the model what is a good part and what is a bad part, and you do this based on the data, and this is a crucial part. So put a lot of effort in creating those data. And of course, you can also use AI to create this data, because sometimes a failure is very, very rare. It's very hard to reproduce such a failure. And you could use AI to create pictures of such a failure that you don't have at hand. But it's about the data more than about the tool.
Okay. Thank you on this. I see some questions about actual live use cases for people in a certain area. For example, from Matthias asking for any use case of AI for audit management at all. Do you have heard anything about that area?
Sure.
You may be familiar
Thank you,
with
Matthias,
auditing, right?
for the question. Yeah, of course, because of my former role, I think a lot about how we can apply AI also in audit management, and thinking about the audit process, which start with the audit preparation. Usually is about reading documentation, reading drawings, or all kind of documents. And of course, this is text, and AI is very strong. Generative AI is very strong in analyzing texts. So I could imagine that especially the audit preparation process can be speeded up a lot by letting AI analyze all kind of documentation and translating it into requirements for the audit. This is the preparation. In the audit itself, and maybe this is some data protection thing, but of course, what you can also do if you have a transcription. So today we record this video, right? So we can easily make a transcription out of this video, and then you have text again. And for text, you can do all kind of Gen AI. You can let it be summarized. You can let it write your audit report, etc. Honestly, it's a crucial thing. It's a delicate thing in Germany to record something, maybe not in other regions. But if you have a transcript of an audit situation, you could easily apply AI to write reports, to create action plans, etc. And of course, also in the follow-up, if you have an action plan and you want to compare this to an audit report, this is something AI easily can do to map, is the action plan feasible? Is it a realistic and it's a good action plan to solve the issues? You can also give it some requirements. You need, I don't know, some root cause analysis tool to be used, etc. So I think a lot can be automated in the audit process, in the audit management process.
I think the following question on that was generally, you mentioned already root causes, ADs.
Yeah, that's similar, right?
Right?
Yeah, that's similar. It's also about text. So writing an AD report obviously is an easy thing for AI, but it's more about how you share the data that should be part of the AD report. And of course, here as well, yeah, the root cause analysis, it's depending. So if you have an document-based deviation, let's say, I think AI can be very strong in, for instance, comparing requirements to the actual processes, may it be in a certification audit, may it be in a AD process. So all related to documentation, I think is quite doable. When it comes to you have a claim based on some production issues or so, it might be hard in the first place. But as soon as you have some documentation about the failure, creating the AD report is a low-hanging fruit, in my opinion. And even more, what I think is very helpful is if you have a database about all ADs you ever made, which basically is PDFs or some databases, then of course you can easily apply AI on this data set and search for similar use cases, search for similar solutions you made in the past, find repetitive failures, try to solve those ones, and even connect it to the FMEA, for instance, right? FMEA is a very strong use case for AI because it's about text, it's about description. this is also something Bosch is leveraging a lot, creating creating FMEI using AI.
So we have another question that is asking if it's feasible that an AI audit manager, so to speak, in the future may also listen to people, listen their voice, and that's a good question, and analyze if this explanation is, actually, so probably based on voice instead of text. So if his explanation is compliant, if I understand it, if what this person is saying is compliant with, for example, the standard the audit is auditing against.
It's a great question. I say technically it's feasible because, as mentioned, if you have a video or record, an audio record, you can make a transcription. Tools are available, even open source tools. Even my iPhone can do this. You have a transcription of the audit situation, let's say, and then, of course, it's quite easy. You can compare what was said in the audit to the ISO, VDA standard, whatever you are using. That's quite doable. And if you find deviations, even more, you can create a deviation report. So technically, it's absolutely doable. However, I see some data protection issues, like recording an audit situation might be something you need to agree upon first. But technically, it's absolutely doable, in my opinion. Honestly, I do the same. I recorded my presentation. What I will do is I will talk to AI about how was it, how was my English, I don't know, was it understandable, etc. So I can let AI analyze my presentation. And what I made is I used my iPhone, made a video, an audio record of what I said. And later on, I can let AI give me some recommendations. Similar, like audit situation.
Live feedback. That's a good point. And one question from my side was still, so I think for anyone individually, it's not that hard to understand what could be done out of AI, what AI could be used for. Is there something that you would recommend when say what kind of skills, what talents? I mean, we have a certain set of current capabilities, but if we are looking into, we want and we need to go into the field of AI. So is it like that now we need to employ many programming or programming experts in order to implement our use cases? Or what do you think? What talents and skills would we need to stay on top of this AI issue?
Mm-hmm. So if you really want to be successful in AI, I think it's about knowledge in the area of data engineering, data scientists are, I think, a crucial factor in the future if you want to really leverage the best of AI. Also, of course, you need some AI understanding, some AI techniques. So this is, I think, something that's very strong. But it does not mean that we all need to hire those guys. This expertise is already available in market, and you can collaborate with partners to get those use cases ongoing. But I think what is crucial for every one of us is some basic understanding of AI, how it works, what are opportunities, but also, of course, what are risks and limitations of AI. So I think some basic understanding, that's something that should be available, quite spread all over every company.
And we have another question asking if we have an out view into the future, if or how the topic of AI could be and will be maybe considered by different standards, ISO standards, customer specific requirements, VDA, AIG, for example. Do you have a specific perspective on that? I have also my opinion on how that could be implemented.
So great question, Matthias, and I think that should be obvious that everyone is talking about AI, so also the standard should reflect how these developments go. Honestly, I don't have any insights in how it's developed. I haven't heard so far that VDA, especially I'm connected to VDA, is tackling that in a way that we think, okay, it's doable, but maybe Andre, maybe you have more insights. So sorry.
So what I've heard from, let's talk about ISO. So we have a close ear on this gremium that is developing or improving the ISO standards, and as we all know and expecting for next year, the new ISO 9001, and this one is integrating sustainability, ESG or SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, into the standard. And so this could give us a hint on how those gremiums are working on requirements, because the sustainability topic came up in, I would say it was very prominent in the year 2021. That started to be very prominent, so they are slowly implementing it. So we can say it for sure will be accounted for. We see in the cybersecurity field that this is ramping up pretty quickly with certain cybersecurity requirements and even more requirements for cybersecurity standards, more in towards the security, less than the AI. But so at the moment, I don't know. I haven't heard of any working groups either from AIG or VDA. So I am not sure if they are currently establishing a working group on AI, but we can be certain that this topic will be integrated into, for example, a VDA or AIG requirements or even guidelines. So AIG, for example, developed the sustainability guideline. And from Tanya later today, we will hear how AIG works and how they are developing those guidelines. And this will be similar to AI. But as of now, I'm not sure, and I don't believe that there is a current working group either at VDA, AIG, or ISO, but it will for sure, and this can be certain, that AI aspects, we don't know yet how, to what extent, but at least that AI aspects will be considered in specific standards, for sure. Matthias, please.
Yeah, so yeah, thank you very much for this information. I think they have to consider it very urgently, as it's all about results. How the, for example, I'm performing supplier audits, how the suppliers are getting to the results, and how we can accept the results. Sometimes even the way, it's very important to understand how they get the results, and if something is also acceptable from the point of view of VDA, AIG, and the ISO standards. So I think this is absolutely necessary and urgent. I'm still convinced they are working in the background on it. So this was just for my information, if you have any more information about this. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthias. Yeah, I hope they do.
Yeah.
And like I said, yes, I'm like you said, I'm certain as well that this topic is prominent, and they will need to figure out a way on how they can make sure that they provide guidelines for the industry, and it will happen. But from TopQM's perspective, or from my understanding at the moment, I haven't heard of anything specific yet on this topic. But I believe AI will be, yeah. I see also in the, let's say, consumer or personal space, AI with specific help, and specifically talking about ChatGPT, for example, in the more personal but also business environment, has become a tool, yeah, which makes everyone obvious that certain things are, yeah, fast, unimaginable without AI. So I think we will come to a point where we think certain things were not possible without AI. But like you said, Christoph, I think we need to find a way to leverage AI for the industry, for our companies. Otherwise, others will take over, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, and when it comes about physical AI, embodied AI, there are plants in China. Xiaomi, for instance, has a plant with 0 human operators, so fully autonomous plant. And imagine about the cost savings and the speed that is achievable by such a plant, and we need to compete with these companies. So there's no way around, I think.
And just maybe I had a discussion with, I think it was last week, with a company that is trying to find ways to integrate AI in their business model or channel in their workspace. And what they did is they started off with letting everyone participate in creating user cases for them. So the company thought the implementation of how can we assess the use for us is they made a town hall or a starting meeting where everybody could join, and they presented a way where people can work. They had, I think, a week or two time to create use cases for them to say, me as a purchasing manager or me as a quality manager, I want my AD reports to be reviewed by AI against a certain standard and helps me. Or me as a purchasing manager, I want to analyze my supplier base based on specific questions I ask. So with the chatbot, I have helped me getting insights on data. So whatever the use case was, they said they want that the people in the company define use cases. And then they used AI, they used ChatGPT to analyze those use cases. So they said, I think it was not through the API, it was through the interface, but still, they used ChatGPT and analyzed those use cases and ask ChatGPT what use cases align with each other, and it helped them structure it. And it gave them a good starting point where they can, like you said in your presentation, start with maybe 3 or 6 pilots, start small, trying to scale it up. So they used this approach on letting everybody participate in creating use cases, analyzing those use cases, providing maybe a certain priority or potential of success, and then starting based on that. So that was a good learning on how other companies did it.
Yeah. And Andre, that also describes how we interact with AI. So usually if you're in a brainstorming session like about these use cases, it totally makes sense to also use AI in those brainstormings to challenge an idea you have, even to summarize a discussion and to bounce something with the AI. And this is, I think, a future skill all of us need, how to work with such agents or how to work with AI, because of course, there are also some limitations, some special things you need to consider when talking to ChatGPT or other large language models. And we all need to have these skills to have AI as one of our team members, basically. And we need to learn how to work with this team member.
Yeah, I think that's a good point from you. Having AI considered as everybody can, it's not like the IT team, they are concerned with the AI topics. It's a good point to raise, to say it's about everyone need to learn how to interact with AI tools. Yes, Fabian, you have raised your hand.
Yes, thank you. Hello together. I have some more details information for Matthias. The question was if there are some ISO standards from the IAG or the VDA. And the VDA is still working on with a working group on the yellow volume. It calls AI in Q methods, and is currently working on AI into quality management methods, and with a decided project group, and the first guidelines are expected to be released next year in the 4th quarter.
Oh, okay. Great. Thank you. Very interesting information.
Yes, no problem.
Starting the ping pong game. So I think IATF or ISO VDA will follow very quick and soon. They had been a start.
I also thought that, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Fabian, and shame on me for not knowing that instantly. But you monitor the status of the VDA QMC project groups, and so there's a website. If you look for VDA QMC project groups, there's always an updated overview on what they are working on. But now that you said it, I looked it up, and it says they are working on they have a project group in place, AI in Q methods, and their general concept is to be expected.
This information are also public, Andrea, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. what did you say? It was like for first quarter, something like that. Okay, thank you, Fabian. Good point. Thank you very much. Okay, and I think if there are no further questions at this point, it's maybe worth, because we have Christoph here and us, to mention that also we with Christoph provide a training on AI that Christoph developed for the AI in automotive, I believe. I don't have the specific title in mind right away, but it's a training exactly on the topic of AI, how to use it, and what the insights are on AI. I thought that may be worth to mention at the end. And so it just leaves me to say thank you very much to everyone. Thank you very much, Christoph, for this view on AI in the automotive industry specifically. And if not now, if not before, now we all know what will come and what will happen to us and what we need to stay on top of. And thank you very much for this presentation. Thank you for joining, everyone. And I hope you gained some input on how AI works, what does it mean, what will be the implication, and maybe how to start off internally if you haven't yet, but we saw it in the poll on where your status is. So I think I wish everyone, I don't know if it's a topic of luck, but I wish everyone great success on this topic of AI. And thank you again, Christoph. And if you have any questions afterwards, so the presentation will be shared with you. And if you have any questions afterwards, feel free to contact us. And if there are specific questions for Christoph, we will make sure to forward those to him. So thank you very much. And for those who will be logging in to our next session, that one will be about supply chain management at 1 p.m. Thank you very much and have a great noon. Vielen Dank, Christoph.
Danke auch für die Einladung und weiterhin viel Erfolg beim IAG Day.
Dankeschön und wir hören voneinander, würde ich sagen.
Genau, wir sehen uns am Freitag nächste Woche.
Ah, gut. Schön. Freut mich.
Hallo Andreas.
Hallo, also auch von mir großer Dank, sehr gute Präsentation. Ich habe es auch in den Chat reingeschrieben. Nun weiß ich, was ich alles nicht weiß.
Ja, das Thema ist so schnell. Da weiß niemand alles.
Okay, dann nochmal danke und bis Freitag.
Wir sehen uns nächste Woche.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Da sehe ich gerade noch. Ich glaube,
Ja,
der Matthias ist auch noch eingeloggt.
Ja, ich war jetzt ein bisschen zu langsam, aber kann ich mit dem Christoph auch noch intern klären.
Ja,
bin in der
das war eine gute Frage auf jeden Fall.
Ja, erlebe ich leider immer wieder.